guys, so we're gonna ignore the way that I filmed this video 100 times. Like, it's not even funny. I was watching back the clip and I had some of my moisturizer. Like, you could see it so clearly. It was like a white dot right here, like over here, and I didn't even notice. And I tried editing it, but it really just annoyed me. So here I am refilming the video with like all the books beside me. The setup is like really weird, but anyways, we're just gonna get into it. Today I am doing my 5-star reads, pretty much 5-star reads, 5-star series, 5-star authors, and I'm just gonna be explaining the plot of the book. Although one book I've talked about so many times on my channel that I don't think I'll need to give too much of a description, but yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, first is my favorite author. My favorite author is Karen M. McManus. Okay, I love her. If I haven't talked about her before, then that's just crazy. What was that? Okay. The first book is One of Us is Lying, which I'm sure you've heard about. This is one of the OG book talk books, okay? This book follows Bronwyn, Cooper, Nate, and Addie, and basically Bronwyn, Nate, Addie, Cooper, and Simon all get stuck in the same detention clause, but Simon ends up dying in this detention clause. So obviously all of them are suspects, and it's basically just following them trying to get out of this murder. By the way, all of Karen McManus books is mysteries with a side plot of romance. That's my favorite thing about her. Next book, well, One of Us is Next, which I don't currently have because my friend Mia is borrowing it. So we're just, I know it follows Maeva, but I forgot who else it follows. And basically, what happens in that book is that there is this game, Truth or Dare, going around, and people are like, some people die, and basically, yeah. Another horror game that nobody wants to be picked for. And it is crazy and scary, and yeah. Book 1 I gave 5 stars. Book 2 was like, I didn't like the ending, so I gave it 3 stars. But it was still really good, and that's another one that I need to reread because I read that with like a 11. No, I didn't read it when I was 11. I read that with like a 12-year-old mind, so I feel like I need to reread that, as well as another book that's in her like range. But anyways, next book is One of Us is Back, and basically what happens in, well, who we follow in this book is Addie, and then I know we follow Phoebe. We follow Addie, Phoebe, and then I think it's Nate. Addie, Phoebe, but we have all the same characters, and obviously it's in the same world. Addie, Phoebe, Nate, and then I'm pretty sure that is it. So this book follows Addie, Phoebe, and Nate, and basically this story is basically there is this billboard, and it says time for a new game, Bayview, and at first everybody thinks that it's like, oh, a horrible dark joke, and it's like nothing. But then people start going missing. Well, one of the members of the crew disappears, and then it's clear that the game got serious, but nobody knows how to play it or what the rules are, so everybody is like stepping on eggshells pretty much. And this book was so good. I need to reread it though, because I read it while I was on holiday and I like kind of cannot remember anything that's in the book, so I need to reread it because I was like trying to just finish it so it became words on paper instead of a book. So I need to reread it, but I can remember like distinct scenes. Like I remember the party scene and the garden scene, but that's the only scenes that I remember. Okay, wait, never mind. Some of the scenes are coming back to me now. This book is my favorite Karen M. McManus book. So if I can recommend you any Karen M. McManus book, this one will be put on the pedestal, okay? This is Two Can Keep a Secret, and you follow Ellery and Malcolm. Ellery has a twin brother, and basically her mother hasn't had life easy. Her aunt went missing while they were both in high school because they're twins. I'm pretty sure the moms are twins. And so Sarah Corcoran, yeah, they are twins. So Sarah Corcoran, who is Ellery's aunt, went missing in 1996. And then obviously her mom, her life hasn't been easy with everything going on. So her mom is in like this, I forgot what it's called, but she's basically there to get the help that she needs and like stop doing drugs and da-da-da-da-da, okay? So Ellery and her twin brother have been sent to live with their grandmother, so basically going back to this town. And 5 years prior to them going back to the town, Lacey Kilduff was murdered, and her body was found in a Murderland Halloween park. That's what it was called, Murderland Halloween Park. But basically, her body was found in a Halloween park. And yeah, this book was crazy, and I loved this book. The like ending had my jaw on. This is my favorite kind of McManus book by far. This book right here, okay? I'm not even kidding. The next book is Nothing More to Tell. This is the last book that I read. Describing the plot of like the beginning of the story is so hard, but basically in this book you follow Trip and Bryn. And Trip and Bryn were like best friends until something happened. They fell apart or they like grew apart. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, so Bryn leaves the town. But before Bryn leaves the town, like while they're still at school, their teacher is found dead in the woods behind the school. And the last 3 people to see them was Trip, Charlotte, and I think his name is Jack or like Jake or something like that. I'm not completely sure, but basically she comes back to this town. They're throwing a memorial, and then she kind of wants to figure out what actually happened to her favorite teacher. And that is this book. This book was really good, though. Wasn't the best, wasn't my favorite, but it was really good. This is the book that I need to reread, okay? I gave it 5 stars, but I cannot remember the ending, so I need to reread this, okay? But basically, this book follows Matt, Mateo, Ivy, and Cal, okay? And basically, they were, like, all best friends growing up, but then I'm pretty sure they grow apart. I like read this in like 2022, so I cannot, like 2 years ago, damn. So I can't really quite remember, but yeah, they all meet up in the school parking lot because they still are all going to the same high school, and they all decide to skip school because they don't want to go to school. So then they see their classmate and they're like, okay, like this is intriguing, let's follow our classmate. So they accidentally follow their classmate into the classmate's murder scene, okay? So this whole book is the contents of one day, and it's basically them trying to clear their name, and basically it's them trying to figure out what actually happened. The next book is The Cousins by Karen and They know it's by Karen and McManus. The Cousins, okay? This book was really juicy, and it was serving all the things that I needed to serve, okay? There's like royalty in here and da-da-da-da. Basically, it's about these 3 cousins, and basically their grandmother owns a whole island, and she's like super rich, and people come to the island for vacation, right? But then a few years prior, their grandmother sent a note to their parents. Hey guys, so basically I just got home from party. It's the next day. I just got out of the shower because we were at Casella all day and I felt really gross. Anyways, so I was hopping on here just to say that basically I didn't explain this part, or like the camera cut off. I don't know what happened, okay? But anyways, basically what happens is, as I said, the grandmother's rich and da-da-da-da-da, okay? So, this one, few years prior, all the parents get a note saying that they know what they did and that they are out of the family, they are not welcome at the island, da-da-da-da-da. Now, the children have finally like come to like their teenage years, and they get a letter from their grandmother inviting them back to the island because she wants to get to know them. and it's basically about them following their journey as they're going to the island. And if I didn't mention already, it follows Millie, Aubrey, and Jonah. And I'm pretty sure that's all I missed. I'm sorry, this video is so chaotic and like lots of things have been going on. But I promise you guys, the next few videos, I'm doing like vlogs and stuff. It's just gonna be fun, okay? This is the last video that's just like, I just need to get stuff out, okay? The fun content is coming, I promise. It was so good. It was so juicy, but like it wasn't what I was expecting from Karen and McManus. It's not one of my favorite books, but this book was actually really good and I enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed the vibes. I like this book, in other words. Okay, the next book is like the longest series probably ever, okay? So, I think I need to talk about the actual series before I can talk about the prequels. That might be a smart decision. But the way I'm gonna have to like, oh my goodness, okay, duh, and then da-da. This is the School for Good and Evil series. Basically, this series is the School for Good and Evil, okay? So, I got the movie cover of the first book, but basically it's the School for Good and Evil, the School for Good and Evil, World Without Princes, the School for Good and Evil, The Lost Ever After, the School for Good and Evil, Quest for Glory, School for Good and Evil, A Crystal of Time, and then the School for Good and Evil, One True King. And these were my babies. This is what got me back into reading and got me obsessed with reading. This book I finished in a week, which from going to a non-reader to reading that book in a week, to be fair, it was during quarantine, so I had all the time in the world. It was crazy. But anyways, this series took me a while to get through, and I like read lots of books in between, but this series was my favorite. The thing is like the first 3 books were my favorite. These were all just kind of meh to me. It's like I just wanted to get the series over and done with, which I'm really sad about. So I kind of want to reread this entire series. So like if the second movie comes out, I will reread this entire series. Not even kidding. But these books are so good. Like these are middle grade fantasies, and basically you follow, if you haven't watched the movie, you follow Agatha and Sophie, and Sophie is blonde and pretty, and her dream is to go to the School for Good and find her prince and just become the princess she's always dreamed of. Okay, so she's excited, she wants to go, she's like, ugh, and then she does like all these weird things to make herself look pretty and da-da-da-da-da, and she makes sure to do her good deeds, whatever. And then you get Agatha. Agatha lives in the graveyard. She has like jet black hair, pale skin. So everybody obviously thinks she's a witch and thinks she's evil. And so they all think that Sophie will go to the School for Good and Agatha will go to the School for Evil. But when they two get kidnapped, basically they live, I forgot to mention. They live in a small town called Gavaldon, and Gavaldon is surrounded by forest. You cannot get out of Gavaldon, okay? But every 5 years, there is 2 kids that get kidnapped. One seemingly good, one seemingly evil. The only reason that that these people kind of know about it is because they see the kids that went missing in the fairy tales that get dropped off outside the one and only bookstore, okay? That's how the people know. But anyways, as I was saying, they get kidnapped this one night, and instead of Sophie going to good and Agatha going to evil, it is switched. So Sophie goes to evil, Agatha goes to good. And obviously they are both like, what the hell is going on? These are the wrong schools. And Agatha is like, Sophie, I really couldn't care less. I want to get out of here. And Sophie's like, no, but I want to be like a good princess. And it's basically about them kind of like trying to escape the School for Good and Evil. Yeah, but it's a really, really good series. I would recommend. I feel like, I don't know how I'd feel if I reread it. Maybe I should do like a whole thing of rereading this entire series. Like, that's a lot. But yeah, anyways, that is the series. And then there's 2 prequels, and these books basically just cover what happened before. So this is the first prequel, The Rise of the School for Good and Evil, and then everything that rises must fall. So this is the fall for the School of Good and Evil. And basically, these books are just about this is just about the events that happened before. So you get like Aladdin and kind of like you just get the fairy tales that you know and love in these books, and these books are also really good. But I read them like now, and this book, I feel like I read it as words on paper and I didn't properly read it, so I feel like I need to reread this book and give it a chance, because I actually properly read this book and I enjoyed it. I'm not even joking. I enjoyed it. I annotated this one because the way this had so many good quotes. Wait, I'm trying to find it. Like, bro, I was out here taking my highlighter and highlighting stuff, okay? Like, this scene on page 112, I was so hungry for something more, but it never satisfied me, no matter how many I had. With you, I never felt hungry or empty. I never would have strayed. Please have me back, Igo. We can be the way we once were. No, was all she said. But nothing's changed between us. Igo smiled sadly at him. I've changed. The way this book relates so much, I annotated this book. Okay, so if that tells you anything, I hope it does tell you everything. The last two books, the last one you most definitely probably would be expecting. But before we get to that one, Our Violent Ends. Okay, the first book is These Violent Delights, and basically this is the Secret Shanghai series by Chloe Gong, and the first book is These Violent Delights, paired with Our Violent Ends. That's the first duology, and then the second duology is Foul Lady Fortune and Foul Lady Huntsman, or like something like that. Something along those lines. I have it up on the screen. And then it's Lost Violent Coal, if I'm not mistaken, which is the novella. Okay, so that's the series. I do not have the first book because I got the first book from the library, but this is the second book in the first duology. And bro, this book was so good. I annotated it as well. Like, I physically had the urge to write in this book. It was that good. The first book was kind of meh for me. Like, it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. It kept me entertained. It kept me entertained enough to read the second book and get completely hooked. And now I'm reading Foul Lady Fortune. So, if that tells you anything. And then I'm asking for Foul Heart Huntsman, or whatever it's called, up on the screen, as I said again. And then I have The Lost Violent Coal on my shelf. So, you know, but anyways, this series is so good so far. I haven't finished it yet, but this book was really good, and so far this one is as well. So I would highly recommend it if you're like starting to get into fantasy and you want something with like a little bit of romance, a little bit of mystery. This is your series to go for, because as you can see, I love my mysteries, and I also do love my romances. With the next book, you'll see that I do like romances. I know, like, not, like, I have read a lot of romances, but none of them are on my shelves. These are just, like, 5-star reads, 5-star series, 5-star authors that are actually, like, on my shelf that I physically own. So, yeah, I would highly recommend this if you are into mysteries and romance, and mysteries and romance, and you're looking for that enemies to lovers and you want to get into fantasy. This series is the best to start out with. Just by the way, it does deal with some things. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what the age rating for this is though. I actually have no idea, because there's no like spicy scenes. Like, there are spicy scenes, but not in the way that you think spicy scenes. So yeah, this book is clean. Okay, this book is clean. It's not dirty. But there are some scenes like when I'm not quite sure, but I know, like, gun to waist, gun to head. Or is it knife? I cannot remember, but it's like I think it was knife to throat, gun to waist. But yeah, let's just this book, if you're a mystery / romance girly who's trying to get into fantasy, this series is the series for you. So the first book is These Violent Delights. You can just go into this duology, but I would highly recommend reading the first two beforehand. The next book is Are We Surprised? If He Had Been With Me. Okay, excuse me, I'm sorry, that was a hiccup. Weird hiccup thingy, but anyways, If He Had Been With Me, do I even need to explain this book? Okay, this book crushed me. Minimum, if you read this, it will crush you minimum for a week. Okay, this book follows Autumn and Finn, and basically they've grown up like siblings. They are the family friends, but then something's happened. You have no clue. You just think that they kind of just grew apart, and they start finding their own ways. In high school, they go their separate ways, and basically it's just their love story, and it's childhood friends to enemies. Well, not really enemies, but childhood friends to strangers to lovers. The end. This is one of the books where it tells you the ending at the beginning, and then you get the full truth at the end, and you just you learn the backstory, and you get so attached to these characters. And I'm really hoping that somebody gives me the second book for my birthday. Otherwise, I will be going out and getting it. There's so many things that I really want to get at the moment, but yeah. So that concludes today's video. Thank you for staying along, even though today's video wasn't the most not really expected, but it wasn't really planned out this way for me to have to refilm this whole entire video. All of these books right here were all put back on the shelf because I was like, oh, I'm finished with it. But no, girly, no. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Just by the way, I'm so excited about this. There's so much better content coming out soon. I'm gonna go to a hotel, so I'm hopefully gonna be doing some more content around this because it's also the holidays, so I have a lot more time to do reading vlogs and all that fun stuff. So be excited for the next few weeks and for April. This is the first video of April. It's not the best, but just know that better content is coming. And yeah, anyways, bye. Love you guys. Mwah.